Hey guys, and welcome to another replay commentary. Today we're going to talk about Cassia, the rent assassin from the Diablo universe. As we're still waiting for Hanzo, who's coming out on Peter tomorrow, we will see what she can do. This week we will talk about Hanzo probably around Wednesday, if I find the time. But until then, we're going to just see what else funny things we can do. So Cassia is one of the undervalued rent assassins at the moment. She's not picked and banned a lot in Hero League, but we're going to see what she can do and why she actually fits into the rent assassin role quite well. So first things first, her talents. We will have a look at them on Hot Stocks, but for those who don't know, her basic abilities, just a quick overview. And as always, if you don't want to see the first part explaining the hero, just click on the time in the description and you jump right into the game. So she has 3 basic abilities. She does have a trait that can be activatable via talent, but her abilities are Lightning Fury on Q, basically a spear, which is the old Javazon, Amazon. Then Blinding Light, which is one of the most important spells for her. She blinds enemies in an area. It's a circle. Pretty short range, but very powerful. And charge at your target and then stab them a lot with your spear. Pretty cool. Penetrate is avoidance, gain physical armor while moving. She also has built in that she does more damage to heroes that are blinded, which means that she basically gets also benefit from being teamed up with Lily or Johanna or Oriel. So all these heroes can be quite powerful with Cassia because she benefits from that, just from blinds in general. So it doesn't matter where the blinds come from. Okay, with that, let's move on to the hot stocks part. Cassia at the moment, as you can see, she's down here. 49% win rate. Her win rate has gone up in the last 7 days, which is what the filters had to here on hot stocks. Basically, you just don't see her that often. She is considered to be not as strong as Vala or Greymane, oftentimes because people think her attack range is too slow. Not too slow. Her attack range is too slow. I'm not making sense at the moment. Her attack range is too small. So that's one of the most common issues with her. As you can see, she does get picked and banned very little in Diamond Master. So only 7.2% popularity. If you look at her talents, she has I want to say pretty balanced talents away from level 1, and her heroics. Both of them are not very balanced at the moment, but we're going to do that or talk about that in a second. So first level, we're going to play Q build in this game. So Thunderstroke, Empower, Lightning Fury does more damage when you hit a couple of heroes. Very powerful if you get the stacks together. Before the recent nerf, and with reasons I mean a couple of months ago, of Charge Strikes, nobody played Q build because Charge Strikes was supposed to be the superior talent. You can activate it to get more powerful basic attacks. Basically, they jump between heroes and enemies and do more damage. They ignore armor, and then that was considered to just be the best solution. Seraph's Hymn is not taken a lot, as you can see, only 4.2% pick rate. Reducing the Blinding Light cooldown doesn't seem very positive for her because it just doesn't do any damage. So people tried it out and tested it. Having this up more often doesn't really help her playstyle. We're going to go with Thunderstroke. I'm going to have a look in the game. On level 4, she has Inner Light, Ring of Leech, and Plate of the Whale. All of them are basically talents that can give her more sustainable life or health or keep her in the fight. Inner Light emits Blinding Light when you're stunned and rooted. So whenever you're stunned and rooted, with a 5 or 10 second cooldown, I can't remember right now, you will just blind everybody around you. It's not picked a lot, and as you can see, the win rate of all of these are pretty good. Ring of Leech is what I'm going for. It's considered to be the best one. It's picked the most. Chris from now Team Zealots, so HGC player, also picks this. and as we can see on the Master League stats, it's also the highest picked talent in pro game. So it basically you heal yourself when you deal damage to blinded targets. This also applies to your allies blinding them, so that's really good, and this is also probably why it's picked the most. Blade of the Whale, avoidance regenerates health. We didn't talk about avoidance that much, but her trait, again, gives her armor while she's moving, meaning while this is active, you get health back. It doesn't regenerate very quickly. I tried it out when she came out. I didn't feel it was very strong. The win rate looks very high, but that being said, it also has a very low pick rate, so it probably is skewed. Impale with the wrong logo, increase Fent damage. That is for the Fent builds most of the time. As you can see, the pick rate is pretty okay, but the win rate is below 50%, so it's not taken that much and winning that much. War Traveler, avoidance grants movement speed, so as long as you have avoidance active, you are walking more quickly. Not necessarily bad, it's just not picked as much because you normally stay in a group, and therefore you oftentimes will not need the movement speed because you're just moving together and you're dependent on your tank and everything. Surge of Light, activate avoidance to deal damage. So how this works is similar to one of the Genji talents with Reflect. Basically, you gather damage by taking damage during an active avoidance. So while you're basically walking around or status stepping, avoidance is active, you get damaged, it gathers up, and then you can press your trait button and release some damage, which is great because it's just another damage spell, so you have 2 spells that do damage now, or actually 3 spells that do damage now. Level 10, Cassia again has issues with her heroics. They are not very balanced. Basically, there's Ball Lightning, which is picked all the time and has a pretty good win rate, and then we have Valkyrie, which is picked never. Ball Lightning literally is a ball of lightning, which jumps back and forth between Cassia and an enemy hero, or between enemy heroes if Cassia's not in range. Doesn't do damage to Cassia. And Valkyrie summons Valkyrie, and then it tries to pull the enemy towards you. It's difficult to hit, it's very slow. The animation is a little awkward in my opinion. So it's not picked at all, I want to say. Level 13, you have a couple of upgrades to your Q and one to your E. Rounding Bolt, Lightning Fury slows, pretty strong to slow enemies. Again, I think slows are little opposite to the movement speed increase. Slowing is always good movement speed sometimes. So if you can slow a lot of people, and as the Q splits up into 2 other arrows, this can hit multiple people. Very strong. Thunder God's Vigor, reduce Lightning Fury cooldown. Also very strong if you hit enemies. Consistently with your Q, you do a lot of damage, which is why the Q build now comes more into play, because her alt attack range again is a little slow, close to enemies, so you are a little bit putting yourself into danger. With Q, you have a little bit more range, and therefore, if you hit it consistently and have low cooldown on the spell, it's just easy to do damage. And then Lunging Strike. Increase the area and the duration of Fent, so that means that you can just hit more enemies and also heal yourself more if you have Ring of Leech. Level 16, you have Pierce, Lightning Fury Pierces. Can be very strong, especially to clear minion waves as well. More consistent clear, but also obviously hitting through the enemy main tank is amazing. Penetrate, consecutive hits deal more damage. So that means if you have a strong disable comp, you just hit somebody and if you can get them into a stun for a couple of seconds, you will just hit more Fent damage and just do damage in general. Martial Law is the executioner that Cassia has. Disabled heroes take more damage. Not necessarily much different to other execution. I think it's also something on armor we can have a look in the game because the description here is not very well done. And then Infinite Lighting on level 20 is the preferred thing to do. Basically have indefinitely jumps between enemies and the ball, so you just do much more damage because it just jumps if you can keep it jumping. You can also have multiple ball lightnings if you keep it going that far, which is, for example, for the new brawl Escape from Brexus, it's very funny at the boss. Imprisoning Light, because nobody picks the Valkyrie talent on level 10. This is also not picked. So basically, I think everybody who's in the way of the Valkyrie just gets rooted. Theoretically sounds strong, but again, the animation and everything is so on the nose that most people just dodge it. It's very tough to hit it. And this is one of the talents which I thought was always really good. Basic attacks ignore armor, so basically any armor that people have is just ignored, meaning you just always do a lot of damage with auto attacks. Because of the auto attack range, it can be quite tough. So it has quite a big pick rate, but as you can see, the infinite lightning just has a bit more of a win rate. But both of them are, as you can see, very strong. So late game Cassia definitely does a lot of damage. So let's go into Master League. She's not very popular, as you can see, only 309 games out of nearly 1,700. She's not banned or picked in most of the games, so that's just how it is. She has a 50% win rate, which is very strong when you look at the games. So in 200 games, she has 50%. Pretty cool. Popularity, as you can see, her win rate is very stable. It dipped down a little bit on the Garrosh balance patch. I think that was when the strikes, and I can't remember what they're called. Charge strikes, there you go, were nerfed. So this went down a little bit, but then again, she also just got picked maybe a little more than. And then, as you can see from the picks and bans, she doesn't get banned or picked that often. Very low pick and ban rate, just because she doesn't fulfill anything that the other ranges at the moment can't do. We're gonna see if that changes at some point in the future. And the win rates during game versus game duration. So she has a little spike during the mid game where she is strong, and then late game, 20-25 minutes, she actually falls down. This can be a little bit conceiving just because she's not picked that much, so she doesn't have that many games that go into different directions. For example, like this late game looks pretty much like it only happened a couple of times. She's popular on all maps. She's been played on all maps. She's played in all regions, especially in compositions with Oriel as an auto attack assassin, basically when you don't have Vala. Builds, we're going to see that most people in the pro games will play her on the auto attack build. We don't see many Q builds. And as you can see, she's actually played in North America and Eastern Clash, lots of the different games. And this is the most winning composition with Charge Strikes, Ring of Leech, Surge of Light, and then we have Baller Lightning, Seraph Sim actually being picked quite often with the auto attack build, and then Martial Law and Titan's Wrench. Because of the focus on melee, you just take both of the melee attacks. Yeah, that's what you see normally. And then we have a look at matches. Counters is not very, like, we're gonna have a quick look at counters. Not very, not giving you a lot of information because the games are so little that are played against her. So it doesn't really show you a lot in this term. And matches, just to show you, she's been active recently. HGC finals has been played. Winner bracket, loser bracket, basically everywhere you want her to be seen. Okay, with that, we're just going to go and look at my hero stats with her. I haven't played her a bunch, only 17 games so far. I leveled her to level 5 when she came out, and then basically stopped playing her. I do think I play her every now and then, but not, not a lot. KDA, pretty low. The win rate is okay, but again, with that little amount of games played, it doesn't really, say anything. But I always like to include this because it just shows, how much experience I have with the hero and everything. Okay, with all of that, we're gonna go and jump into the game and start the replay. We are playing Team League, as you have seen in the title card, or whatever you want to call it. We're playing on Battlefield of Eternity, which is, I want to say, a stronger map for Cassia, because you just have more time to fight 4-on-4. Basically, let me just find myself. There you go. Because you have the 4 on 4 in the bottom, you just have more time to fight, get more stacks for the Q, which is better than, you know, a lot of rotating where you don't get any stacks. So, level 1, hit heroes who empower Lightning Fury. After hitting 20 heroes, increase Lightning Fury's damage by 100. After 40 heroes hit, you have mana cost reduction as well. As a Team League, we didn't pay attention at all, and therefore we ended up getting cheesed a little bit with Sylvanas. We have Garrosh though, so our early game is pretty strong. Getting quite a bit of focus damage here. We lost the tower and our hero on top. We're now switching lanes. And this is one of the issues that Cassia has early, I think. If you can't reliably use your W to E combination, you don't have a lot of wave clear. Your Q doesn't do a lot of damage early on, and this is the combination, W into E. Basically you blind everybody and then use the E to do more damage to blinded heroes. Trying to stack here, just get the first level done, so basically I want to have 20 heroes as soon as possible. The mana reduction is nice, and again W into E, but the damage is what it's important. Because we have Garrosh, it's very easy to still win these skirmishes, even though we lost a tower here. Our bottom lane on the other side doesn't look that bad. Greymane not the best solo laner against this. Again, as you can see, we don't get a good synergy off here. It was 3-man Team League, by the way, not 5-man, so we didn't have voice to the other 2 randoms. So yeah, again, her wave clear lags a little bit early on, or especially if you can't go W into E into the minion wave, because if you can't do it reliably, you just don't do a lot of damage. The Zeratul is one of the things that I have to take care of during the game. He will jump onto our Morales and make it difficult for her to stay alive, so I just have to make sure that I keep an eye on that. Nice getting stunned here, good job. And this is one of the things with Cassia, her E can be pretty awkward from time to time, where you press it and then you literally just run around corners. It oftentimes doesn't go off as quickly as you want it to do, and she definitely charges on people, so you can put yourself out of position sometimes. When we lose the fight and I get killed, we still win the first half of the race. We have Tyrande and Artanis. Artanis has amateur opponent, and Tyrande can reduce the armor of the Immortal. So basically we do a lot of damage to them. The enemy still has to be very careful with us doing this, so while they are racing on their side, they actually lose the race now because they can't stop all panels. Cassia does okay damage to the Immortal, so she's an okay pick here on the map. She doesn't do anything special. With charge strikes on level 1 she could do, I think. Yeah, I think it's okay. Like basic attack damage, again, because of her low, and you can see it here, like I only attack the minions here instead of the enemies, because look how close I have to be to auto attack something. It's pretty annoying sometimes as well. You can't really stutter step properly to get things done. But yeah, she's good against heroes that have to get close as well. And now you see the level 4 talent in action, Ring of Leech. Basically, whenever something is blinded, I do damage to them and it heals me. You also see avoidance in the top, in the bottom right here. When it blinks, it's active, which means that I have armor, 65 physical armor, so it's not overall armor, so I don't get protection against spells. It only helps against melee attacks. When you're rooted or stunned, it obviously deactivates, so that's one of your weak sides. You have to be careful against or with roots and stuns, because you basically they can take you out of the game. This is again one of the typical things. You QWE, basically spend all of your spells into one enemy to quickly kill them. Can be very powerful against squishy targets, and because of her auto attack range, many people underestimate how strong she can be and just like walk into her. Like this Sylvanas didn't really take any caution and just ran, or just stayed where she should be staying. Again, W into E, trying to get a lot of damage into Anubrok. But these are all spell damage sources, so for him it's not as bad because he has the Nerubian armor. This is why Garrosh is, by the way, banned so much. If you didn't know, if you don't play against him a lot, the throw into your enemy team, or sorry, the throw into your team is so strong because you basically can kill anybody early game very easily. And you have to fight because the ways here are so narrow that you oftentimes can't just dodge the throw. I teleported back for get mana before the immortal spawns, and unfortunately our supports get killed. That being said, we get the defensive spawns, which pretty much plays into my hand because I can just stack more. So you can see how much damage he can do because of the radius of the blind. And this was the activatable avoidance. So basically, the Surge of Light you just saw there. You will see now that this will fill. And I made the mistake. Let's have a short break and let's have a look at this again. So Blinding Light doesn't do any damage, right? So I forgot about this. And we're fighting here. And the Zeratul is, like, I know that he's here. Like, I can see him basically from the Shimmer walking into it. And I walk in here, and I see the Shimmer. This is him. Like, if you roll in, this is Zeratul standing here. And as I don't play her that often, what I do is I try to blind him here. And it doesn't do any damage, so he just runs away. I didn't have cooldown on my Q, but that's something that you have to just keep in mind. Your blind doesn't do actually damage, so that means that you can't, you know, reveal stealth heroes or just interrupt, for example. Here I'm completely out of position. The good thing is my healer keeps me alive and I can just keep on going. Again, as a Team League, we're goofing around a little bit. I didn't get the blind off here in this case. Now I'll switch to the correct character again. I didn't get the blind off in that situation, so let's go back here and look at the fight again. A little bit further. Go. So the spawn comes, it's defensive as I said, and now this I should, like, I see the Malfurion, so I just get like interested to fight. I didn't see the Zeratul here. Get stunned. Can use my avoidance trait again to do damage, which is why it's so good to have it, because this can help you to basically unstealth people, but also give you another finisher. And as you can see, whenever it's critting here on Cassia, it means that you are hitting a blinded enemy. You have a little fun ride with the Medivac just for funsies, nothing really happening. So we're dominating them quite a bit because of the early game Garrosh. And now we also reached level 10, which means that we are just ahead so far that they can't really contest us here. Took the Ball Lightning, as I said. There's not much to consider here. It's the Valkyrie is just also a skill shot that you have to hit, which can be quite difficult. And again, I'm not the most skill shot hitting person. So after the first one, we stayed bottom and opened the wall. So now that the second immortal is spawning, the wall is already open and we can easily fight here. Let's go back 1 second to show you how Ball Lightning works. We jump in here, I'm way too much far forward. That being said, I get the armor trade up, so I don't get too much damage from Greymane, who does auto take damage. So you can see the lightning ball, and then this jumps between everybody. Because they're so clumped, they actually don't get that much damage from it, because it's the most effective if you just hit one target or two targets, because it then obviously splits damage. They counter-engage great into us, but we don't really care because we have bot lane pushing and also bottom lane just destroy the fort, so we are still up. just getting some damage in here, doing some damage to them, so they can't have too much of an advantage of basically wiping us here. That being said, they have Savannah, so they definitely get the fort here, I think, just because you can disable it and you can easily trade with Savannahs. We're taking the medevac, but I'm only respawning in 4 seconds, so we are too late to get them. They could have gone earlier, that would have made a difference. Now this way they can actually dodge us because it takes some time before you can get out of the medevac. The grenade doesn't dismount Savannah, so that's it. She dodges the WE combination very quickly. Could have probably ball lightning there, but maybe I just didn't click it. The thing is, why Cassia also has some issues being picked, E basically stuns you in position, right? So when you use Fend, your avoidance is not active because you're standing still, and you also give enemy spellcasters a very easy way to just do damage to you, because they know where you are. So that's one of the things that doesn't work that well. On the other hand, when you get free damage, when you can do your full combo, you do quite a bit. Again, great initiation into us. That being said, they fight all 5 against us, and they still lose 0-2. So we get another 4 team members down. But on the other hand, our Artanis takes the camp, so you know, you win some, you lose some. That's how it is. On 13, I took the cooldown reduction, so enemy heroes hit by the primary missile of Lightning Fury reduce its cooldown by 1 second. The primary missile is the one that goes out of you, so like basically this one, the thing that hits first, can pierce on level 16, so if you hit several heroes, it counts. As you can see, it splits here, but the initial can pierce on level 16, so you can get quite a bit of reduction in there. Our medic went on a little adventure here, but these close encounters are the perfect thing for Cassia. I didn't want to jump in because I didn't see a lot what was going on, but seeing the top lane, we should have probably tried to delay them a little bit. As they try to get in here, I'm pretty confident to just go back on the Immortal. Let's have a quick look at the stats. Hero damage is high, siege damage not very much, still pretty okay in our team. We don't have that much wave clear, but Atan is doing much better than I am. The good thing is, because of your avoidance trait, the enemy heroes that they have here are not very scary for me, because the spell damage is not super high on the enemy team. Zeratul Qs do quite a bit of damage, but for example Greymane, he doesn't do that much against me. Another one of those interesting medivacs. We get him, we get both of them, and we basically, yeah, we wipe them. Pretty easy game so far. They didn't draft very well against the Garrosh, and they also just walk into us quite a bit, or quite into him, so we get the chance to just Medi got stunned here. We can just convert on those positions where he throws somebody into us. As you can see, like the Cassia plays are not very flashy. I haven't done anything where you're like, ooh, this was really cool. Which is one of the things that also might hurt her popularity. This is pretty okay, like this is how you wave clear, but as you can see, it's not overly great. Now that the Q is stacked fully, it's actually probably pretty okay to just use your Q. Again, I took Pierce on 16. So the primary primary missile doesn't split anymore. You can basically just shoot through a group of minions now. It doesn't split anymore unless it hits a hero. When it hits a hero, it still splits. But that still means that you can hit more heroes with it, and you can also clear a little easier. Again, we get a throw. The VP is too late. Good silence. I get the ball lightning and the throw, therefore I get 2 kills here, I think. No, only 1. And let's jump back for a second, just to show you why her auto attack is such an issue. So I'm gonna follow Zeratul and Merfurin here in a second. So ball lightning comes, jumps between Zeratul and Merfurin. I'm here. So now you're gonna see, and we're gonna just pause it, unpause it, and pause it again. I'm killing him. So the distance between us is not very big, right? And I'm clicking on him to attack him, but I'm actually attacking the fort. So because the attack range is so small, I didn't like I A-clicked probably here, and because of the short attack range, it attacked the fort instead of following Merfurin. So stutter stepping with her, or actually following heroes with the stutter step, is also pretty difficult from time to time. That being said, her Q quest allows you to just be a normal range assassin, so if you play Q, it will be much easier for you to just like perform well in the terms of damage. I didn't play her super well this time, I died quite a bit. And before the game's ends here, we're just gonna go look into stats and everything. So one is look at talents. Q1 level 1, then Ring of Leech on level 4, which is considered to be the best talent here. Surge of Light. You have another damage spell. That's very important because you that's what you lack, and this can also help you clear waves a little bit quicker. Ball Lightning, as always, that's the heroic that you're gonna pick. Thunder God's Vigor was the choice for me this time. Enemy heroes hit by the primary missile of Lightning Fury reduce the cooldown, so you have more of them. The other one on 13 gives you the choice to slow heroes, or actually slows enemies, not only heroes, by 30%. But I wanted to go for the cooldown reduction in this game. And then on 16, Pierce. On 20, I would have gone for the Infinite Lightning, just so it bounces around, and also it reduces the cooldown by 3 seconds every time it bounces. So again, you can have multiple of those when it comes to endgame fights. Stats-wise, as you can see, hero damage, I'm on the first place. It's pretty easy because we had such good garage throws that it was easy for me to just like Q and WE into a lot of people that were thrown into us. But it's quite significant. Like you can see, like Tyrande, which is considered a great auto attack hero and doing quite a bit of damage, didn't do as well as I did. And then you can see most of our kills that we did came from my last hits. So that's pretty much what she can do. She can be quite reliable with damage, which is why she is paired with Auriel from time to time when you don't have any other auto attacker. I would probably still play with the auto attack build on level 1, like Charge Strikes, Ring of Leech, Surge of Light, and then here you go for probably, I want to say, Lunging Strike maybe, but it really doesn't matter. Like you can take all of these on an auto attack build. I think Lightning Fury slows can be helpful in the auto attack because you can chase more easily. But then here you go for Martial Law, and on 20 you just go Titan's Revenge for the auto attack build. If you play with Auriel, for example, so you get the more focus for her. I think the Q build doesn't work that well for that, just because you don't regenerate or not generate enough hope in a short amount of time. That being said, if you get W and to E off on a group of people, especially heroes, you do quite a bit of damage. That's it for this one. Pretty short game. Hope you still liked it and learned something about the assassin from the Diablo universe. We gonna see Hanzo on the PTR this week. I'm gonna be have a look at him and check him out. So if you are excited about him, we will see him soon on the channel. And as always, I hope to see you soon and have a good one. Bye bye.